get ready. Baron 1898 is the most themed dive coaster in the world. The ride is found in Efteling theme park in the Netherlands and opened to the public on July 1st, 2015. As with many entries in this series, Baron 1898 is a seamless blend of theme park attraction and dense storytelling. With a unique design, thrilling coaster and deep folklore background, it takes elements from various attraction types and provides a powerhouse of a coaster known to be one of the best in its class. In this video, we're going to take a deep dive look at these various parts to highlight what makes Baron 1898 so good. Get ready. Background. During its early development, Efteling noticed that they were slightly lacking in top-tier thrill attractions. With recent inclusions of the Flying Dutchman water coaster and the Dueling George and the Dragon wooden coasters, the park felt like it needed to target towards teenagers. While the other newer attractions provided some thrills, they were still predominantly family attractions, along with the majority of the rides in the park. They settled on a new dive coaster to fill this void. However, park executives insisted that the new ride would follow in the path of previous Efteling attractions and be focused on story as an integral part of the overall experience. Designers visited many real mines to draw inspiration from and give the ride its authentic theming. The building is made up of several different parts ranging in height and depth, which give it a more complex and larger feel as if it belonged to a real mine. Much of the mining equipment seen inside the building and station are actually real though. Efteling put out a large request for people to provide this and many responded. Helmets and lamps are predominantly featured, all of which were previously used in actual mines. Despite being manufacturer B&M's 9th dive coaster, none were quite as intricately detailed as this one. While other dive coasters that they created centered on thrills and record-breaking features, Efteling wanted to provide an immersive and holistic thrill ride experience. Since the park's opening in 1952, Efteling has been a park centered around fantasy. As it grew, it carried this legacy, incorporating fantastical story elements into its design and attractions. Baron 1898 is no different and contains a huge background featuring dense folklore and local mythology. The story. In 1893, Gustav Hugmode was seated in an inn planning a trip to South America. His ship was due to leave in 2 days, not leaving him much time to reach the port. A local advises him that there's actually a shortcut through a boggy moor, although others in the inn become quiet as this is mentioned. The moor is said to be haunted by spirits known as Witweven, meaning white women in English. These spirits drag those who trespass down into the ground with them, where they never return. Gustav disregards these claims and proceeds to take the shortcut. During his venture, he comes across a cave filled with gold. As he begins to extract a nugget from the cave wall, the Witweven appear and he flees. Returning several years later in 1898, Gustav is now a baron and proposes to turn the cave into a gold mine. However, inexplicable things begin to occur in the mine. Blood would drip from the mine's walls, and the excavation site would become infested with spiders. A skeleton was also found in one of the mine's corridors. As more workers were scared off and the amount of gold became more difficult to find, the baron offered locals a deal if they worked in the mine. They would be allowed to keep half of all gold that they find. In order to dispel any belief that the mine was cursed, the baron offers to be one of the first to use the new mine shaft elevator to delve into the depths of the pit. The test seat for the ride is actually located inside this elevator, said to be the one that the baron used himself. We act as the locals that will work on the mine, being sent down the shaft in order to find gold. Much of this story is outlined in a short film created for Efteling's YouTube channel. It's an interesting concept and gives future riders the full in-depth background of the attraction. It once again shows that story is paramount for Efteling, and it's a must-watch to get the full grasp of the detailed background for this ride. Pre-shows. After the initial outdoor queue line, guests enter the first of 2 pre-show rooms. In the first, the Baron gives riders a speech advising that they will enter the mine to extract gold. But the mere mention of gold causes the white women to appear in the room via projections, where they sing to us, warning that they guard the gold and to go back to where we came from. As with everything else with this ride, the room is ornately decorated and provides plenty to look at. It's another testament to the attention placed in the making of this ride. The Baron advises not to buy into all this frivolous superstition and to proceed into the central office in the next room. In the office, a pretty decent animatronic Baron gives us a pre-ride safety spiel, ensuring us that we will be safe during our descent. Riders are kept within this room until they are ready to board their train. This adds a very interesting tension to the ride, as you don't yet see into the station building. When the doors do open, you board straight onto the train, not giving you additional time to think about whether you want to ride or not, which feels somewhat intimidating. It's a unique feature that works effectively and adds to the foreboding theme. Guests board the special minecars in the station building. As they progress towards the mine shaft, the train is attacked by the White Women as seen by flying projections. We should have heeded their warnings, but it's too late as we already begin our ascent up the lift hill. The inclusion of added storyline on the actual coaster is a very welcome addition. It's reminiscent of Furious Baco at PortAventura, where we get added story elements you don't usually anticipate from a standard coaster attraction. This helps differentiate Baron 1898 from the majority of coasters and further cements it as the best themed dive coaster in the world. Coaster elements. After the initial lift hill, riders are suspended at the top of the coaster. Brakes lock the train into place as they teeter over the edge of the drop, offering a view of the surrounding park and dense forestry that stretches for what seems like miles. It also offers views of the dreaded smoke-filled mine below them. Although not a new concept, particularly for dive coasters, it's the build-up that differentiates Baron 1898 over others of its kind. This is further embellished by the whales that you can hear calling from the mine below. It adds an extra scare factor and sustains the perilous nature of the ride. While many might be scared of the height or the anticipation of the drop, the sound effects and design creates a different type of dread that you don't get on many dive coasters. After holding riders at the top of the drop for what feels like an eternity, the brakes are released, sending the cars plummeting down a 37.5 metre stretch of track down into the underground portion of the coaster. The angle of this drop is an intense 87 degrees, almost an absolute vertical drop. The pit swallows the train before emerging out the other side, and this brings riders to the top speed of 90 km an hour. The coaster swiftly then makes its way back upwards into an Immelmann loop, a coaster element named after the German fighter pilot from World War I, Max Immelmann. This enabled fighter pilots to quickly manoeuvre after an attack on an aircraft, to then reposition for another attack. The track outlines a half loop, followed by a half twist, to essentially complete a 180-degree turn, sending the coaster back into the direction it originally came from. These particular elements are commonly found on B&M dive coasters, and make for a smooth and exhilarating first element after the initial dive. The coaster then flows into a zero-G roll, an element named after the weightlessness riders experience from the zero-G force during the inversion. Essentially, a zero-G roll is a 360-degree twist in a hill as it rises and falls in elevation. Typically, riders are upside down during the crest of the hill and experience some floater airtime. During the zero-G roll, the perfect transition and smooth layout provides a gentle sensation that you are floating out of your seat. It's an intense moment during the ride, but also makes for a nice picture spot off-ride, which is cleverly placed just over the heads of guests in the exterior queue and at the front of the station building. The train then traverses a tight upward 360-degree helix spiral before running over a quick bunny hop hill that gives a short burst of airtime again, before running into the final brake run. The ride then pulls back into the industrial station building where they disembark the ride. All in all, the total experience of Baron 1898 is 130 seconds, although only 31 seconds of this is from the drop to the final brake run. It's a tight ride experience, indicative of the dive coaster formula, with a total track length of 501 metres. But each of the coaster elements flow perfectly together and make for a fun and intense experience. If anything, Baron 1898 is a perfect example as to why theming and storyline are such important features of good rides. The coaster is good, albeit short, but the experience would only be half as enjoyable if it was not for the surrounding details and story. And again, to add to this story and background lore, guests then exit the ride through the milk house, which was a tradition originally done by miners. Miners would get a glass of milk after completing a day of working in the mines. Final thoughts. The original goal created for Baron 1898 was to help the park gain an annual attendance of 5 million visitors by the year 2020. The inclusion of this attraction helped achieve that goal 3 years early in 2017, making Efteling the third most visited theme park in Europe, behind Disneyland Paris and Europa Park. While the park has been known in Europe for quite some time, Baron 1898 has really helped establish the park as a must-visit, with an estimated 94% of the Dutch population now being said to have visited the park at least once. The perfectly smooth B&M track makes for an exhilarating experience, while the magical storytelling that permeates throughout the park plays an integral role. The layered story that forms the background for this ride provides a dark and ominous tone not found elsewhere, and this all adds to the experience. The soundtrack was actually created by Brussels Philharmonic Orchestra. While other theme park music can be iconic, with some classic examples found in Europe, particularly from Imascore, such as the Klugheim music in Phantasialand, having a full Philharmonic Orchestra adds to the grandiosity of the music and helps set the tone and embellish the feeling that this is a special ride. Even despite its short length, all of these moving parts form together to make one cohesive and amazing experience. And it's these individual parts working together that makes Baron 1898 a good ride. We hope you enjoyed this installment in our What Makes This Ride So Good series. Now you're ready. What attraction should we do next? Leave a comment with your suggestion and hit the subscribe button so you can keep up to date with the channel.